Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday morning gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. This is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how we may incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and I am delighted to be here this morning with Greg Topakian. He's a mindfulness instructor for Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and longtime meditator. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, Suzanne. Delighted to see you as well.
Yeah, great to be here with you this morning.
Likewise.
I have to say that Greg is zooming in from Provincetown, Massachusetts. We may all be jealous now, okay?
Yes, yeah.
Envious?
With good reason. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very hot day in Massachusetts. So if you can be near a good breeze, you're in good conditions.
Lots of gratitude for this week, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I would bet. So today we'll start off with a question for the group, as always.
Oh.
And Greg will lead us in a guided practice, share some thoughts with us, and then we'll have some time for questions and comments. And I would encourage you to go to the bottom of your screen and open up your chat box. And you can have the option to click the drop-down menu that says panelists and change it to panelists and attendees. And you can see all the comments and questions coming in as they come in. And I'd encourage people, if anyone has any related question, whether it's related, any meditation or mindfulness question, whether it's related to our talk today or not, just type it in and we'll get to it after the practice. All right.
Absolutely. So, please do.
Yeah. We'll keep those questions going. And speaking of, Greg has a question for everyone else. So what shall we start with?
So let me just say, nice to be here with you this morning. I can't say nice to see you, but I do feel you out there. Nice to have this time to practice mindfulness together, and a special opportunity for us to experiment with what it's like to bring mindfulness into our daily life. So the question I have for you today, and that we'll address in our time together, is when you practice mindfulness, what is it that you're doing exactly? Many of us, when we begin our mindfulness practice, we're picking one target, one object to focus on, like the breath or sound or the body, and we're attempting to direct attention, sustain our attention there. And other times, when the mind wanders, we tend to just want to bring it back and return it. Other times we're more free-flowing. If the mind wanders, we bring that attention to the new object. And other times, maybe we're exercising the mind just to be tuned into what's called the open spaciousness of the mind, whatever that means. We'll explore that. So when you're practicing mindfulness, do you have one target? Do you have a flowing sequence of targets? Are you just aware of spaciousness? What's happening for you in your practice?
Yeah. Well, I can start, and I would say it depends on where I am. When I'm practicing at home, I typically do tend to focus either on the breath or on the body. But if I'm in, if I'm near an ocean, I'll focus on sounds. And but it somewhat depends.
Sure.
Someone's mentioned clearing my mind, slowing down, or stopping my thinking.
Breath and sensations in the body. Always focus on the breath. Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about at the end of the time, depending on questions, what's when you might use a different style of mindfulness, what might be most helpful in the particular moment.
Someone says focus mostly on breath and body, but often includes sound. Yeah.
Okay.
And in the summer, I'd like to be outside and practice open awareness.
Oh, yes. Nice.
Clearing my mind, awareness of body-mind connectedness.
Wonderful.
Yeah, okay.
Well, if any more of you would like to add to chat, please do, and we can talk about that as well. But maybe I'll say a few words, and then we'll dive into some of these different flavors of mindfulness. So depending on your training or experience, or depending on the quality of your mind in the moment, how scattered it is, how focused it is, different flavors of mindfulness might be the most helpful to me or to you in that moment. But certainly, the ground of mindfulness is what we might call a focused attention. We'll call that, just for the sake of language, a classical mindfulness. And what we mean by that is what many of you are writing about in the chat box, is that we pick an object or a target for our focus. We direct our attention there. We attempt to sustain our attention on that target. And when the mind wanders and we notice, we return attention. So this is called a focused attention. And its primary benefit is that it's training the mind to settle down. It's training the mind to know that it can be directed, right? Very important for us to know we can direct our focus to certain places. And with this focus, I'm going to call it, it's the ground for mindfulness. There can be tremendous peace at times as the mind just sort of settles down. And that peace can lead to new understandings as well about who we are and where our mind tends to go. So let's take a few minutes to practice this focused awareness, this focused attention. And we're all familiar with this, but I'll just say a few words to guide us. So I'll invite you to find a comfortable position for yourself. So that means checking in with the body posture, feeling free to make whatever adjustments to posture that will help to promote relaxation in the body, but that will also help to promote alertness and awakeness in your mind and body. So we're looking for that sweet spot between relaxation and effort. So initially, there's perhaps a scan of the entire body. There's a whole body awareness. How can you hold this body in a way that will support the settling of the mind? And as the mind begins to settle, with this classical mindfulness, perhaps you'll choose your favorite target, your anchor, if you will. For many of us, it's the breath. It could be your feet on the floor, hands in the lap, sound. And we turn attention to that single target, that one object, directing attention there. Attempting to sustain attention there. Not so much thinking about it, but feeling it, experiencing it. What does breathing in and out feel like in the body? And knowing that. Or what does feet on the floor, making contact with the floor, feel like? And knowing that. And in this first focused awareness, mindfulness, if the mind wanders and you notice, you simply bring it back to the target. You return your attention. So where is your attention right now? It's wandering around towards the future or reliving the past. You notice, and simply return it to your primary target. Okay. And now I'll invite us to experiment with another flavor of mindfulness. And this is a flavor where we are relaxing the requirement to return our attention to the primary target when we notice that the mind has wandered. So in other words, suppose we're sitting and the breath is our primary target, feeling the in-breath, feeling the out-breath. And then suddenly there's a cramped feeling or tension in the back shoulder, under the shoulder blade. In the first practice, we would notice that and bring our attention back to the primary target. But in this second practice, we're going to let these body sensations become the new target. We're going to bring the same quality of attention to this new focus. So start with your primary object. And when something bumps that from the prominent place in the mind, something new emerges. Rather than returning, bring that same quality of curiosity and interest to this new object. The sensation in the body. It could be the breath again. It could be sound. So it's the same quality of knowing, of being awake, when the mind wanders, and we notice, you say, okay, let me be with this new experience and know this. Okay, continuing in this on this path of tasting different flavors of mindfulness. Now we're going to turn to a type of mindfulness that is oriented not to any object, but to the open spaciousness of the mind. We're said to be aware of awareness itself. So it's not so object-oriented. So what the heck does that mean? So I'll suggest a couple ways that we can tap into this. And the first is just to find a comfortable position for yourself. And to direct the breath, to direct your attention to your primary target, let's say the breath. Noticing what it feels like to breathe in. Notice what it feels like to breathe out. So awareness is tuned into breath. Now we're going to open it up. So awareness is tuned into the in-breath. But then upon completion of the in-breath, before the exhalation begins, there's just a pause. And in that pause, we're aware of that quiet silence of awareness. There's no breathing in happening yet. There's no breathing out happening yet. There's just a moment of pause. And then we breathe out. We're aware of the sensations of the exhalation. And then upon completion of that exhalation, there's a pause. And we're simply aware of that quiet, silent pause. No objects, no breath, no sensations in that moment. And then the next in-breath, pause, the out-breath, pause. And in that pause, we're simply aware of what knowing feels like, what it feels like to be aware. Now, here's another way we might tune into this, what's called natural awareness or objectless awareness. All right, we start with the breath as the object. Then we turn our attention to the whole body. So we have a whole body awareness. So the body is the object. Now we turn our attention to the space above our body. And now we turn attention to the space in front of our body. And now behind our body. To the right of our body. And to the left of our body. And now back to body. Back to head. Aware of your own head. And then aware of the space above your head and body. And for the next minute, directing attention to the space all around your body. The spirit of this flavor is that the awareness is bigger, if you will, more encompassing, more like a container for the body, for the head, for the brain. It's more than that. It's awareness itself. So I'll count backwards from 3. And when I get to 1, I'll invite you to reopen your eyes, come back to the room. We can have the last few minutes for your questions or comments. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, Greg.
Pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
I thought I'd offer to folks if they want to put a couple words in the chat about their experience with those different types of mindfulness. I think that was a wonderful taste of each one. I know.
Thank you.
I feel. Well, let's go to the comments. I appreciated the moment of pause.
Yeah. So it's not about holding the breath there, but there's just a pause before, in between the inhalation and the exhalation, and just noticing that silence.
Focusing on the space around my body somehow helped me to stay more focused than usual. Yeah. And question, did you call natural awareness objectless awareness?
Yes, yeah. Because we're not focused on the breath. The breath is an object, or the body is an object. We're just focused on what does it feel like just to have a mind that is knowing at the moment. So it's a mind that's focused on the big blue sky rather than the clouds in the sky, if you will. So it's object-less awareness.
Yeah, nice to have different options.
Yeah.
I've done that practice a couple of times to feel the space before, in front of you and around you, and I really like that because that does open things up and but also it gives you a little something to focus on. So I thought that I've enjoyed that practice. I enjoyed it this time as well.
Yeah, I'll just say that what's often suggested is, it's great to have more tools in the toolbox, but when is each of these tools more likely to be helpful to us? And if the mind is very distracted or we're all churned up, then it's the time to pick the one focus, the one object, the breath, the body, and just direct attention there with the hope that, yeah, we can just calm the mind down. If the mind is worried about the future, just running to the future or reliving the past or wanting something to be a different way. No, notice, bring it back to something calm, something quiet, something neutral, something safe, like the breath. So again, the mind is highly distracted or we're all worked up. The single focus is often what's recommended. But sometimes we're all these type A's and we're wanting to achieve. Sometimes that single focus, we get into striving and trying too hard. I know sometimes I would say, I want to get to 50 breaths in a row it's just all this goal-oriented stuff. And it can actually get a headache. And it's all about striving. And so then, presumably if we're there, we have some focus. Then sometimes it's more helpful just to sit back as if you're leaning back against a tree. You're just watching the show of life. So you're aware of the big blue sky, the deep blue sea, and every once in a while something passes through, becomes known by the mind, and then it passes away. And then there's nothing for a while. And then it may be a thought or a sensation. And the idea of that practice is that our awareness, our mind, is bigger than any one sensation or any one thought. We're more than just this one thought. We're more than just this one mood. We are awareness itself. And in that awareness, things arise, they're known, and they pass away. So have fun with that.
Yeah.
And next time, we can talk about it some more if you like.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you so much for introducing that to the group. I think it's, like you said, and someone else made a comment, it's nice to have options for when,
Mm-hmm.
the time is right for that. So I'm really happy that you joined us this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And just to remind folks that we'll be back on Thursday at 8:30. And the following Tuesday, we're here all throughout the summer. So don't think we're on vacation, because we don't do that too often, but we shall be here. So, and I wanted to invite Greg to close us in some more thoughts that he might have to share with us, or a little bit of a
So
practice.
just a moment of a practice to close our session with. So I'll invite you to find a comfortable position for yourself. So for all of us ordinary human beings, living in this world with tremendous uncertainty, not knowing how things are going to turn out, feeling vulnerable perhaps at times, may we all be safe and protected. May all beings, may all of us feel the love and support of the people who care for us. May we all learn how to offer kindness and caring to ourselves in our times of need. And may we offer the same kindness and caring to those around us in their times of need. Finally, may we experience and may we appreciate this present moment of peace. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you all for your practice. We can feel it. We support each other. So be safe, be healthy, and see you next time.
Sounds good. Thanks again, everyone. We'll see you soon.